1 year ago, I started an experiment to see if I could survive in a Bedrock Superflat world. There are no structures found here, it's just endless grass with a single bonus chest which I used to turn my world from this on day 1 to this on day 476. It's been a wild journey and I've achieved some frankly insane things, but despite all of the goals I set myself being achieved besides one, that one final goal has driven me so insane I've decided to quit the world, which seems dramatic, but allow me to show you exactly what the journey was like, as well as what the world looks like now. I am genuinely so proud of this world. It's one of my favorite Minecraft worlds I've made, period, and the fact that it all came from this single chest is absolutely nuts. And so yeah, if you want to see this entire journey, it was all live streamed. I'll leave a link to the playlist down below if you want to see all 50 episodes, but for now, this is the brief version of what it's been like to play Superflat Survival for 1 full year, my favorite challenge I've ever set myself, and what the world looks like after all of that time. But first, let's explain how any of this is possible, because the obvious question when you don't have structures is how do you do anything? And the simple answer to that is, although some resources can be obtained by killing mobs, the key 2 drops come from zombies because they have a rare chance of dropping both carrots and iron. Iron can be used to craft a bucket and a cauldron, which means you can get water if you kill enough of these zombies, and carrots can be used to sustain yourself as well as to breed pigs. Now, if you use that bucket of water you just got to kill some more of those zombies, they'll turn into drowns, and drowns have a chance of dropping copper instead of dropping iron. Copper can be used to make a lightning rod, use that with the pigs you had from before, and boom, the lightning strike suddenly turns into a zombie piglin. Killing zombie piglins gives you a rare chance of getting gold, and so if you get enough of that gold together, you get a golden apple, which you can use with a splash potion of weakness to make yourself a villager. Except you can't make a splash potion of weakness. What you instead have to do is stand next to a witch for long enough for the witch to make you one instead. It's absolutely insane, but that is how we got the first villager, and that's how we turned the village into a village empire, and then I made the villager empire into a much better rounded world. Get it? Rounded world. Anyway, I made myself an iron farm, and from here, it was easy to make any gear, including the full diamond set that I have slowly got from villagers. It's super nice, and that's where you left me off last time if you've seen the last 3 recaps. However, you might be questioning what has been the goal since then, and the answer to that has been relatively simple. I wanted to get every type of wood, every color of dye, as well as every single type of block that is possible to be traded with. And so the first 2 ones of those were really hard. Getting every single type of wood involves basically RNG on the Wandering Trader over and over again. Getting every single type of dye, on the other hand, is relatively easier. I mean, it does involve that same RNG, but once you get cocoa beans, you have brown. Once you get blue, you have not only blue, but light blue. Once you have green, you have green, light green, and cyan if you've got the blue as well. So in theory, it was going to be easier, but what ended up happening is I got all of my trees, I placed them around this beautiful circle, as you can see right here, and then getting every single one of these dyes was a real grind. I was sure this was going to be the last thing I did in my world, which was great because where we left off last time, I was still waiting for lightning. Lightning is absolutely crucial for any of this to work, because for me to get any gold whatsoever, it has to come from zombie piglins, and zombie piglins can only happen when there is lightning. However, lightning is a random event in your Minecraft world, and so after my last stream, you might have recalled I was waiting for some serious time. I knew I was well overdue for it, at day 300 something, and I was like, I know lightning is just around the corner. I had fallen for gambler's fallacy, the idea that just because a bad thing has happened enough times, a good thing is due to happen, or maybe the other way around, that, if you flip a coin over and over, the odds are always 50-50, even though it feels like if you get tails 5,000 times in a row, that the next result must not be 50-50, but the coin is always the same, and I want to tell you about how much this broke me, but first, let's explain the good things that happened. So, first things first, my previous iron farm, which stopped working, I decided to just abandon altogether and make a second iron farm, which was more efficient and made from my lovely mangrove wood. I got myself some lily pads, which were pretty cool. I mean, I don't know what to do with them, but the Wandering Trader gave them to me, and I'm perfectly happy with that. And then I got myself some birch trees. Get this, I finally had the last tree type in the world. I really chose to admire this for quite some time, because now I finally had every single type of wood possible. I then decided to do a lot more breeding of pigs. I took advantage of the long wait for lightning to get as many of these lovely pre-gold ingots as I can. I've started to see pigs as merely, conduits, gateways to getting lightning, and that's perfectly okay. There's no problems with that. I even upgrade my chest plate with thorns free. I'm feeling really good about everything, and I know that lightning must be just around the corner now. And the good news is that right after I put sharpness 5 and looting 3 on my diamond sword, and then after I start making an automatic composter, then what happens is lightning doesn't strike. but you know, obviously what finally happens on day 401 while I'm building this mountain next to my hill, because my previous mountain just wasn't very good, is you start to see it rain, and then just after, you start to see these flashes in the sky, and you know what that means? That means apparently the pigs are causing issues of the world, and they're making it look like lightning, when there is none whatsoever, because on day 403, the rain stops. Don't worry though, I'm very aware it's just around the corner, and so I do a little bit more busy work, and I build myself dirt versions of various structures in Minecraft, like this old-style villager house. I make this jungle temple, and it's super nice, and I also get myself the curses, because this was something they made possible in Minecraft at this point. You could officially get Curse of Vanishing from a villager, which I then applied to my diamond pickaxe. A great prank for future Toy Cat. You know, this is something that is going to go very well in the future, and I'm going to really enjoy that. What I also enjoyed was on day 418 and 19 is I tried to get myself as many drowns as I could. The first night I decided to get zombies from the outside world and then drown them that way, and honestly I got no copper my entire first night, so instead I gathered my zombies at the farm where I did this before, walked them in there, and got 3 full copper ingots the second day. Honestly though, spending an entire day for 3 copper ingots is pretty damn bad. It is enough to make a lightning rod, but I think the thing that I was much more impressed by was taking all of the redstone that has fallen across my world. So there is a rare witch drop that is the redstone, and it just so happens that I've killed enough witches that now I have enough of it to make a redstone block, an activator rail, as well as a note block if I really want to, and you better believe I really want to, which is why on day 420 it starts to rain. I know it's going to be amazing, and so while I wait for it, I make a little note block banjo with hay and a little manual note block song, and what I do is I call with my note blocks for lightning to strike, and it doesn't, and I really cannot stress enough just how painful that is. Anyway, so my big plan here with curing villagers is I want to get villagers with specific professions that I can't make the blocks for, which means I won't be able to repeatedly sell things to them, and I'll have to instead rely on buying things. This means I need to get a lot of emeralds, and I feel like the best source of emeralds is melons from my previously cured villagers, which is why I go absolutely wild on this melon farm. I make a huge one that has massive oversupply, and this oversupply allows me to get this many emeralds by the time that I'm done, by the way. So things are going very, very well, except for 45 live streams in, I have still not found any lightning. Just to give you perspective here, because it's something that blew my mind, and I went back and checked the notes for this, Superflat world, just to make sure. I had lightning in my first 100 days. Then I had it on day 127, day 152, and day 350. So I have a long history. I've had lightning 4 times in the first 350 days, and so given in mind that between then and now, it's been almost 100 days already, I'm getting pretty exhausted, and the only thing that makes me feel any amount better after getting all of these emeralds and all of these enchantments and making all these dirt structures and improving the museum is that on day 464, I finally get green dye. This means I finally can make a green sheep and have all 16 colors of wool, glass, and any other type of dyed block that I want. I immediately use some of this to make my melon farm look a little bit better, but that was the last big, amazing accomplishment that I made. I waited for a full 20 extra days after this point. I have been staying up all night at this point, bear in mind, so it sounds like it's just 100-something days, but bear in mind, it was live stream 34 when I last had lightning. I've had 16 full live streams over 2 hours each of just waiting for lightning, and it hasn't struck, and you know, I've got a big rant about that, but what's much more important is to see the actual progress that I have made. I do want to share my rant about how lightning works in Minecraft. Pro tip, it's entirely random and has no ways to really encourage it, despite being so needed, but let's talk about the beauty that is this world first, because this is one of my proudest projects, so let me give you a little bit of a tour in survival. So here it is, the very first build I ever made in my Superflat world, except it's still standing over 100 hours later. It's cool to see just how much the world has changed around it, so for a brief tour around, let's start with my house over here. Wow, this was the first house I made. I made it from dark oak because I only had dark oak saplings for so much of this run. Pro tip, you cannot do a Superflat world if you don't have oak or dark oak. I got quite lucky in that regard, and my house really is the most luxurious you can make. using just dark oak and wool. It's an absolute beauty of a thing, but wait till you see my storage room next door. This is one of the greatest things mankind has ever conceived. As you can see, it's the most organized, beautiful chest room I think anyone has ever made, and honestly, I really like this fence gate thing on the top I did here. I think it's really, really simple and really, really basic, but just having these go round in a circle is a nice little idea. Honestly, there's a lot of things around here which I built and then kind of haven't come back to, but I think that's the beauty of this world. I'm going to show you around it. Again, look, this is what it looks like from above, but I'll show you around from the ground going counterclockwise, because I'm not a clock, I don't have to follow their rules, and so let's start with this area here. I built my little farm in front of my house, then I built a little area of my trees, and then I built a cow farm and a sheep farm. I decided to go for a little bit of a weird design on my sheep farm, and then apparently the sheep's caused too many lags, so I just started killing all the sheep, and then there was no grass for them anymore, and so now it doesn't work as a sheep farm, but I left it there, whereas my cow farm is much, much more useful because I can not only get food, although you can see I'm clearly eating cooked mutton instead, but I also can get all the leather that I need to make books to sell to villagers. Not that I do most of my selling to villagers, because as you can see, this is my collection of librarians for various enchantments. It took me a very long time to get most of these, especially mending, for a good price, and the curse of binding, as you saw in this video, getting curses was a really silly thing to do, but I'm glad I have both of them. But as well as that, I've then got these basically villager houses where I keep my cured villagers. So for example, I can sell melons to my boy the farmer over here, for just a single one of these for an emerald each. Yeah, I have this big area around the village which is covered in pathway blocks. This is because in Minecraft there are certain blocks that won't spawn mobs. Pathways are one of the easiest examples. There's also slabs. There's any real partial block won't have mob spawn there. So you can see I've got this big area around here as well as my spawn so that nothing can get there. However, as the world goes a little bit deeper, and indeed we get to the kind of pumpkin farm area. Also, by the way, Bedrock won't spawn mobs, so having a big separation between this and the rest of the world makes sure that no baby zombies can spawn and then accidentally walk over and do some terrible things. But next up, and a little behind that, we have my farms. These are basic versions of all farms. They're relatively primitive. It's where I grow pumpkins, or melons, or sugarcane, or even cocoa beans. I have not got a huge need for a large amount of brown dye, but if I ever do need it, it's very, very easy for me to get a ton because I've got this jungle wood with cocoa beans attached. I've also got a cactus farm over here, but again, cactuses are near valueless. I mean, what could you use them for? I bet you could smelt them in a furnace, except, oh, no furnace. Okay, never mind. Then just behind this, I have my mud brick desert well. Boy, is it a beauty. My dirt villager house, my dirt temple, my dirt mushroom. Yeah, I really was just building everything out of dirt here. I figured, you know what, given that the world is mostly made from it, it makes sense to build as many structures as I could from this stuff, but it never really panned out. You can also see my very big melon farm, with the goal being not only to trade for a bunch of emeralds, which are super important, but also to make a melanger cube. So a menger cube is where you take a cube and you hollow out the inside, kind of like a hole going through this way, a hole going through this way, and then you do it to the next level, so you combine those cubes into a big cube, but with that one has a big hole in the center, and I was going to do this with a bunch more melons going even crazier. This was going to take a huge amount of time, but I thought it would be fun, and honestly, yeah, the only reason that I haven't gone back to that is because while I was waiting, I was doing it, and every time I'd go and wait by the pig farm just in case, and then the lightning would never strike. But yeah, I think this is one of the projects that most inspired me. It's one that I want to see done the most, because when we go to the next level, like these already look kind of crazy when you look inside them. Imagine doing this to the next level. Would be kind of nuts. And then this is my melon farm where I got most of the good views from this video, if you want to see what it's like at the top. Well then, here it is. Whoa, isn't it great to see the big full circle of my world? What's also great, and something you'll spot as the nighttime slowly fades in here, is that the world used to be using dirt as its mob-proofing mechanism, but as you get far enough in the tech tree, you can start using more normal mechanisms. So I have torches in a large part of the world. You'll notice over there, that's one way to torch up the world. This is a different way to torch up the world. I have campfires hiding in the trapdoors. I thought that was a fun thing to put in over there. But overall, you can see that the world really changes its profile overnight, and you can start to see the development a lot more. So the vantage point of this world that I used to use was the big square of water over there. It was something I was going to use as like a slime farming area, or like a deliberate way to stop slime spawning, but I messed up the boundaries and then figured, you know what, I'd better fill it in with water. And then I figured if I've got water that can prevent me from dying from falls anyway, why not make a stairway all the way to heaven? That goes up to the world height because there was a theory that maybe you'd be able to get some ice if you place water up there. It doesn't actually work. I don't know why it doesn't work, but you cannot. There is no ice obtainable in this world outside of trading with the Wandering Trader. And also, I hope I make this full. So yeah, the Stairway to Heaven is mostly just there for aesthetics. It is a very cool piece of art. Like you can see, it's a perfect square, but because of the angle, when you look at it, it never looks like it is one unless you're perfectly in the center. It looks like a pentagon, it looks like a rhombus, it looks like all sorts of shapes, but it never looks like a square except from one specific angle. I also love my mushroom temple over here. It's one of the best things I've built in this world, and it's one of those fun examples of like, yeah, it's just about as easy for me to get mushrooms here, or giant mushrooms here, as it is in the normal world, and therefore, relatively speaking, it's one of the easier, colorful building blocks to use, and I really like the appearance that it gives. This was where I put all of my villagers in after I closed down my iron farm because it didn't work. I then tried to convert the iron farm to a drown farm. I have this attitude in Minecraft that I don't just want to follow a tutorial to build a farm. I want to understand how the mechanics work, and I want to try and make it myself and then optimize the design. I have more fun doing that, so I've been trying to make a drown farm here. So I made a mob farm, basically, a very low-leveled one, and then I figured, okay, then we can flow the mobs into one place, and then we could just drown them. It used to be that we killed, iron golems with fire here, but after it stopped working as an iron farm, I figured, why not have a drown farm? And it technically does create, like, one drowned a night, but yeah, I think I need to work on, like, optimizing out spiders as an example and stuff like that. I have my sheep farm. Every single color of sheep in Minecraft I have. It was a real long time to get the last color, which if I'm not mistaken was blue. Or maybe it was green. It was a real long time to get green dye in the end. Blue dye took some time as well, but like getting these dyes was a real challenge. So to finally have both of these and have brown and purple and every other color you can imagine is super, super nice. Around the world, we have all types of trees. And so this is the acacia section, this is the mangrove section, then we've got the jungle section over there, the birch section, and the spruce thing. I think it's kind of fun. I think that was like an interesting design for a world. Am I allowed to say that about my own stuff? I think I am. This is the iron farm that exists outside of the world's most beautiful house. I assumed I could make this from brick, but I was very wrong because you can't get brick in a Superflat, and I somehow made that mistake about 3 or 4 times. But yeah, it's the world's most beautiful house. It even has a basement which goes all the way down until you can't make a basement anymore. And yeah, personally, I like the look of this thing. I think it's kind of fun. This is the frame rate in my Minecraft world because yeah, I have too many pigs in one place. I figure because it's taking so long to get lightning, I need to get the most number of pigs converted as I can. However, I've run up into Minecraft Bedrock's like limit of what it can handle before it just starts to die. And I've tried running this on my PC with a 2080 Ti. You know, I've got like there's no difference made. There's only so much that Minecraft's code itself can handle, and it's somewhere in the hundreds of pigs because I not only have hundreds of pigs here and a few pigs over there. Also, you can see literally look at the frame rate as I go left and right here, and compare it when I'm just looking away. You can see that at least the game is playable this way. Oh, you can also see something fun. Let's look at the sky real quick. So bear in mind, I'm not looking at the pigs anymore. I'm just near them. And let's try and eat, and let's watch the sun rise. Oh, the eating actually worked. Oh, no, it didn't. That was a lie. So we eat, and then the eating works, except it doesn't, so we eat again, and it doesn't work. And we... Okay, I've managed to eat, and the sun has just about risen out of my screen. It's now gone, which is good news because, you know, the sun is, it goes in a linear motion from east to west, right? Which means that all we have to do is politely sit here, and you know what's going to happen next? Whoa, that was so much more than I was expecting. Did you see that? The sun just went, time just went backwards by like 2 minutes. So yeah, that's the problem with being near the pigs. I can't even just sit here and wait for them to do stuff because time physically doesn't move at the right speed when I'm nearby. Maybe this is a case where I just need to AFK for long enough, like literally leave it on overnight and then pray the pigs don't get hit too much. Maybe that's all I need to do. You know, let me know in the comments if you think that is the only solution you foresee. If you have a better one, I'd also love to know it. But overall, yeah, to finish up the world here, in the center I have my mob farm that was essential to get the iron all those episodes ago. And then I've also got this, which is a museum for the world. Again, I made it out of dirt, grass, and moss, figuring it should be kind of dirt-based if it's in a Superflat world. I've kind of gone off that opinion. I think using new and interesting blocks that you obtain yourself is actually far better than making things out of dirt, and mostly because of... I think this is actually not a terrible look for a mansion. It just so happens that using dirt will make anything look terrible. Oh, that was very weird. We're still close enough to the pigs that things don't quite work in a normal way. Like, what's happening there? Oh, the water's flowing just, like, this number of blocks at a time. See, so strange, right? But yeah, this is where I keep my tropical fish. I placed the water in there wrong, so they're all permanently stuck to the bottom of the fish tank. This is where I'm going to be collecting lots of rare items, and this is where I'm eventually going to have every single block in Minecraft on display. I have every single block that starts at A in this chest when it opens, if it will open. There we go. Every single A block that exists, if I'm not mistaken. I've got every single B block. Oh no, this is the rest of the A blocks. And I have most of the B blocks. You can see there's just so many in here, and I've got the hard ones, blocks of redstone, block of iron, block of this, blue ice, etc. But yeah, there's a lot of blocks to collect in Minecraft, and this is my area where I'm storing them until I can display them all in one place. Honestly, I don't think the museum's even going to hold it in one place, but that's a problem for another time. It is a really fun idea. Also in here, I had an iron golem. I don't know how he died. And I also have a phantom. Should we let my phantom go free? Oh, he doesn't want to go free. Well, I have a phantom. Honestly, this really is one of my favorite Minecraft worlds, and now you've seen the entirety of it that exists so far, and you've also hopefully seen my big problem. Actually, wait, speaking of my big problem, look at the slime just bouncing so slowly. But I also have over here a witch and a cow, so that the witch can throw potions at me. I don't know why she's called avocado oil, but she can throw potions at me, presumably to get weakness for me and a zombie villager, and if she gives me the wrong potion, then I can heal it off using the cow. Oh, that's so weird. Speaking of things that are weird, I won't go over the top on the drama here. I'm not going to pretend that Superflat is a terrible game mode and that I hate it, because that would be lying. I love the idea of just jumping in on a brand new Superflat world, and sometimes I even like the idea of just, let's sit down for 12 hours and let's just sit here and wait for lightning if that's what we have to do. However, instead of doing either of those things, I want to mention to you why I need to go through that in the first place, and that is the lightning mechanic that exists in Minecraft right now. And first things first, I do like the progression that Superflat has. Regular Minecraft has a trillion different ways to get somewhere, and that is beautiful, but Superflat has just the one. It is a truly blank canvas, and although on that blank canvas, you have to work your way up a tech tree, which is really a tech line. You have to do step 1 to get to step 2, to step 3, to step 4. However, I think that there's one crucial flaw in this plan, and that is the way lightning works. I think adding the lightning rod is the true catalyst that allows Superflat to exist, but I think there needs to be more changes to lightning to make it a more predictable event. If every single path progression in every single one of these worlds relies on lightning, there are a bunch of players right now, even if it's less than 1%, who get all the way to where they have a lightning rod and they have pigs, and then they can make precisely no progress because they don't get lucky with lightning. I think that lightning shouldn't be a 100% luck-based thing. Obviously, it shouldn't be, some people might say, well, lightning should just strike every 12 days. That's ridiculous. That's not how weather works. However, the way rain works in Minecraft right now is when you go to sleep, you set a random timer between half a day and 8.5 days, and that is the amount of time that it will take for rain to strike. And this is a timer that resets every time you sleep. So in theory, if you're sleeping every day, you could never, accomplish rain. You could never run across rain as a weather type. But in reality, eventually you'll hit rain. It's more likely if you keep sleeping. It's slightly less likely if you don't sleep. However, the way thunder works is there is a second thunder timer. Again, every time you sleep, it's reset between half a day and 8.5 days. And that thunder timer is working just the same as the rain timer, but it requires the rain timer to be on. So this doubles the complexity, and it means that staying awake for a long enough time isn't going to guarantee that you get thunder. In the same way that rain works by just having an up to an 8.5 day wait at the worst, but thunder works by having an 8.5 day wait at the worst and praying that it lines up with your rain, which you have no way of knowing because that data is hidden. I think thunder should be a separate weather type to rain, instead of having it be that there's rain that happens up to every 8 days and or at most 8 days from now, and there's thunder that happens maybe in 8 days from now if you get lucky. Why not have instead thunder have its own timer and its own weather event that could be up to 40 days? And then if you really want to go really fun with that, if you have 2 separate weather events, now when they do coincide, you can make that a mega storm. You can make that something extra interesting and add a third weather state to Minecraft, even if it's a very rare one. Even if it doesn't do anything special, I think it would be wonderful to really take advantage of saying these are 2 separate types of weather. I think if I was overhauling the Minecraft weather system, I'd also make snow a different type of weather, you know, have different types of rain, different types of thunder, different types of thunderstorm. But I think weather in Minecraft is too bland for a system that is so relied on, and that is why I'm not playing Superflat on my world until, and you know, I would say until the weather gets fixed. I don't know if that is on their docket, but instead what I'm going to say is I'm not going to play Minecraft on the Superflat world until a major update comes out. I look forward to playing more Superflat when I have new content to actually explore, because as it is right now, I've 100%ed every aspect of the game except the bit that relies on me having some pure randomness, and that is something that I just don't find fun, but that I will change after an update comes out. Maybe this video was over the top dramatic to you know, people always say, like, it's not an airport, you don't have to announce your departure. And first of all, our airports aren't the only place where you announce your departure. Do you leave parties and you say to people like, whoa, 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 you don't need to announce you're leaving, it's not a bus station? That's ridiculous, right? But second of all, I hate that phrase so much. But you know what else I hate? I hate the idea of everything having to be absolute. In reality, I kind of fell out of love with Superflat, but I look forward to falling back in love with it. And in the same way, I've fallen out of love with saying that you should subscribe at the end of videos, because let's be honest, every YouTuber says it. You know, to some extent, you might get their videos anyway, but if you want to show that you like Superflat videos, if you want to show that you like these weird ways of playing survival, then subscribe is not only a way to see more of these videos, but it also works as a way to say thank you, and indeed, I hope you enjoyed this video, because I'm going to see you in the next one. Goodbye.